This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
So happy that you're here with us today.
Yeah.
So, we've had this weird thing, Josh, where it's hot and it's cold and it's hot and it's cold, and I woke up today all congested and just weird. You feeling okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that didn't sound convincing at all.
Mentally I'm okay.
Mentally you're okay?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. What I wanted to talk to you about today is I've noticed something, and I don't know the answers to this, so I don't know where this conversation is going to go, because I don't know the answer. We talk an awful lot about how you feel when you have mental experiences, how that translates and you feel that in your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're very, very good at describing what anxiety feels like to you.
Yeah.
When it feels like what we call shutting down, it's actually just the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you're feeling and experiencing everything.
Yeah.
So much so that it causes you to not do anything.
Yeah. Because I'm so overwhelmed by it all.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing that I wanted to ask you about is that what I've noticed through the years is that, again, you're very good at pinpointing how something feels. I'll put it this way, like how an emotion or a mental state feels in your physical body.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's different than that is that when you actually have a physical ailment, it seems like that's harder for you to pinpoint.
It is. Especially, like, let's say I'm having a stomach ache. I'd have to pinpoint it on my body physically, and even then, I have to move it around to find out where it is. As an example.
Uh-huh. Because I've noticed that. So when you have a physical issue, it takes a lot of work for you, like a lot of questions from me, asking you to be able to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And there are exceptions because you have an issue with your wrist.
Yes. That has a specific source for a specific reason. Me being a dumb kid and sword fighting with sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I was sword fighting with a bunch of friends of mine, and I stabbed into a guy's shield that he had made with the sword I had made, and it pretty much broke my wrist. Mm-hmm. And then I did it again.
Uh-huh. That's like when you were, I don't know, 17 or 18, something like that.
I was somewhere between 18 and 21, yeah.
And so you know what that is. You know, you can feel that.
Yeah.
It bothers you daily.
Yeah.
And you make it crack.
Yeah.
To feel... Don't do it. No. Make it crack every day.
Well, now that's going to bother me now because I'm thinking about it.
But you know where that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't question. That's a feeling. You know what it is. You know where it's from.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have, I think a stomach ache is a good example. When you say that you don't feel well, it's not easy for you to say. So I could get up and I could tell you if I had a sore throat, if I was congested, if I had a stomach ache. I could tell you if I felt, if my stomach was bothering me because I was hungry, or maybe like after Thanksgiving that I ate too much.
Yeah.
You know, I can describe to you the differences that I feel.
Yeah.
That is difficult for you.
It is. It is. And so I know that there are some context clues, like let's say it was just after Thanksgiving dinner, and I know that I just ate a lot of food, and my stomach is yelling at me.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's more than likely because I ate a lot of food instead of being hungry.
But it doesn't feel like so. But other than having the context for that, if you didn't have that, where everybody else is also sitting around like, I had to get my sweatpants on. I hate too much. Without that context, you would have a hard time understanding the difference in a stomach issue, whether... So this is a question. Mm-hmm. I wanted to say that because it might sound like I was making a statement, but I'm asking a question. So can you tell the difference in whether you're
full or hungry?
Yeah, but I don't mean just whether you're hungry. You know when you're hungry. But I mean in your stomach, if you're having issues, without having that context, do you know what that is, or are you like following along?
Sometimes I'm following along, and a lot of times I'm not even sure if it is that I'm hungry or not. It's difficult for me to tell because it is physically so similar to each other that I don't always know which one I am. Like, I could have a stomach ache and I don't know if I'm hungry or not.
Mm-hmm. But I think what's interesting to me about this is that when it comes to physical experiences based on emotions and based on your mental state, you understand those. You understand what those feel like.
Yeah.
But if it's purely physical, we've had many conversations where you just don't know what you don't feel well. I say what's happening. You don't know.
Right.
So I have to ask you a whole bunch of questions to find out, for you to be able for us to get down to the bottom of what's happening.
Right. The only exception that I would say about that is that if I'm going to be sick, as in throwing up, I've noticed that beforehand I will burp and it'll have that this disgusting smell and taste to it that is very specific to me about to be sick.
So that's a clue.
Yes.
Right. Other than that, it has been historically very difficult to understand what it is your needs are. Like, speaking from you as your mom, it's been difficult to understand what you need, because you're not really able to express that thing. So let's say, there's your sister Bug. She could tell me, I have a pain here, I have a pain there. This feels like I'm going to throw up. This feels like I'm going to, have diarrhea. This feels like I have a toothache. I have a headache. Where on the side of her head it hurts.
Yeah.
Where, whether it's like maybe a headache sometimes behind an eye, on a side of the head.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So I, as a mom, have two examples. So I have you and I have Bug. And with her, it's very clear.
Yeah.
She's in touch with how she feels in her body, what's happening, when she doesn't feel well. And that's been something that's been missing with you, the ability just to express that. I'm wondering if it's different now. Do you notice any difference from when you were growing up to how you feel now? Or it's just not something that's ever really clicked?
You're talking about physically?
Yeah. When you feel something in your body.
whenever it's like a sharp, quick pain, it's fairly easy to pinpoint where it is. With that said, it's more difficult than I'd say a quote unquote normal person. But, at least from what I've seen and what you described with, for example, Haley.
Mm-hmm.
What you just described about with Haley, she can just pinpoint, hey, I'm not feeling okay right here.
Right.
With me, it's like, I feel around for it and it's like, yeah, that's it.
So you feel something, but you don't know where it is. So what you just did is like you moved your hand around on your stomach.
Yeah.
So you feel something, but you're not sure where it is. So you kind of...
Feel for it, yeah.
Right.
To try and pinpoint its exact location, yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever have those phantom things that happen? Like, where it's just, everything is normal, and then you just, like, this pain, and you're like, ugh! And then it passes, and you're like, what the heck was that? And it's gone.
Yeah. I think we're thinking of two different things, though.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's a different experience, but I've had those, and I've talked to other people that have had those. These like phantom pains that come out of nowhere and like debilitating for 5 seconds, or 10 seconds. You're like, I can't, and then it's gone, and it never comes back.
Oh, with me it comes back.
What the heck was that?
With me it comes back. A perfect example is the remnants from picking up that water case.
Well, that fell on you.
Yeah.
Well, the water fell on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying phantom where
there's no
reason
real
for it. There's no reason for it.
Okay.
You just get a pain. You don't have those?
I have them.
Mm.
Usually they become focused right around the time that I have to do chores.
Ain't that the truth?
And it's not for that reason either. It's because I'm focusing on how my body is doing so that I can figure out, hey, can I do this or not? It has nothing to do with me trying to get out of chores. I promise you. It may look like it, but that's not it at all.
So explain that, because it really does sound like BS. It really does. It sounds like a big old heaping pile of BS. And so explain that.
So, whenever, let's say I'm laying down on the couch reading,
mm-hmm.
which does happen occasionally,
mm-hmm.
where I'm on the couch.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to...
my bed.
Yes. Hibernating in your room.
Yes.
Away from all of us. Yeah.
Yes. And, hey, I need you to take the trash out. So, it's somewhat subconsciously, but somewhat consciously at the same time, I do like an inventory of my body.
On purpose? Or does it just happen?
Both. It's kind of both. And usually whenever my mind thinks of it, that's when my body lets me know, hey, you are feeling this right here.
But then you still don't really know how to... It's not pinpointed. You just have kind of a general sense.
Right. And because it's like I forget what it's called, but whenever you don't think about it, you don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you think about it, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens.
That's like when you've explained to me before how when you're doing something that you want to do, it takes you out of... It like lifts the stress.
Yeah.
I'm not really saying this the right way.
Because
I've questioned you before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how come you can do something when it's something you want to do?
Because I'm not focusing on my body. I'm focusing on what I want to do.
So, chores make you sick?
For lack of a better term, yes.
Have you noticed it changing at all through the years?
You mean the pain and chores?
Not necessarily just related to that, but how you have you noticed anything that helps you to understand what's going on in your body more? Well, clearly not, because you're still at that point where you're not able to figure it out. Was it more of a problem when you were younger, or is it about the same? I'll put it that way.
I'd say it's about the same. I'm just better equipped to articulate how I'm doing at this point in my life as opposed to earlier.
Right.
Doesn't really make it easier to pinpoint what's happening, though.
Right. I think, things can happen, like with your wrist. So that happened, and now you feel that.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
I do understand about not necessarily having control over what is happening. So, remember in 2017, I had meningitis. I had West Nile, and then it turned into meningitis. I was in the hospital, apparently, for a while. And apparently, because I don't remember. I do remember the pain.
I laughed, but it was serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I do notice after that is that there are times when I can't recall words, and I have it's different, and I can pinpoint it to that, because that's after that it was different.
Yeah.
So my level of concentration, the length of time I can concentrate, the level of concentration with clarity, is different than it used to be. So even when I'm communicating, a lot of times it happens on this podcast.
Yeah.
Where you will say something, I will know the answer to that, but I can't bring it up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not available to me.
Right.
That's new. That was not the way it was before I had meningitis.
Right.
Things were readily available. And not to say that I knew everything all the time. I don't mean to say that. But I just, knowing what I know and being able to express it was easy before meningitis.
Yes.
Knowing what I know and not being able to bring that up is new since the meningitis.
Yes.
And so I do understand what you're saying, in that there are times when there's just not a clarity on a particular in a particular experience.
Right.
And so while I call BS on your about not feeling well because you have to do chores, I do understand. There's part of me that I do understand that, because what you're saying is this is a physiological. Let me pose that as a question: is it physiological, or is it mental or emotional?
It's physiological, because like I said, it's like I'm taking inventory of how my body is doing, so that I can prepare to do this. And is it up to par, so to speak?
Well, is that something you just naturally do?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's how whenever you're getting ready to do comedy, you go over your set.
Mm-hmm.
You make sure that you have it down pat, that you're going to be okay to be on stage.
Right.
It's that same kind of concept. Just it's, instead of being prepared to go to a show to do comedy, it's doing inventory on my body to make sure that I can do this chore or do whatever it is you're asking me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times my body is coming back saying, oh, heck no.
Well, how do you overcome that? Because it seems like that then is a culprit in you not accomplishing things, not just limited to chores, but finding, I'll give an example. You are looking at college programs right now. You're choosing between two different community colleges to start.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been given the you're the decision maker here.
Yeah.
And when it comes to doing something like that, where you're just putting thought into something and making those decisions, do you feel that same thing that stops you from moving forward? Or is it just physical stuff?
It's just physical stuff. In regards to the example you just gave,
Yeah.
I think of something else, and then I completely forget about it. So it has nothing to do with how I'm physically doing.
So it brings up a question that's off topic here, but if there's something that you've said you wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
how does it just not come up? And that, I'm aware that sounded judgy. I didn't mean it that way. There's something you want to do. There's something you've said you wanted to do.
Yeah.
What happens along the way that it doesn't enter your awareness that you've got to take action on something? Or, you know what I mean? Like, if I've been married to your dad for 33 years.
Mm-hmm.
He can say that he'll do something. If he doesn't do it, I know that means he doesn't want to do it. Right?
Yeah.
So it makes me think the same thing.
There are a lot of things I would love to do. Sometimes, I don't think this is what you're meaning, but sometimes, like, for example, whenever we first moved to Florida,
Mm-hmm.
or we're about to move to Florida,
Mm-hmm.
you would ask me to look up some things that I might enjoy doing there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things was, like, BMX racing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a bike or anything,
Right.
but it was one thing that I was always fascinated by was these BMX tracks that you'd race down the hill and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I would enjoy that. Never did it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a case of me not wanting to do it or anything? No, it just slipped my mind. And then whenever I did think of it again, we were already moving away.
You didn't. So you thought of something. We moved there. You thought, and then you didn't think about it for 5 years later.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. Okay. All right. So to me, that means it's not really something that was, top of your list of things to do.
Right, but it was still something that I would have liked to do. Doesn't mean that it's not something I ever want to do or anything like that. It just slips my mind.
Huh. So,
With the physiological stuff, though,
mm-hmm.
it's like my subconscious is saying, "Can you do this though?" Like for example, you say to me, "Hey, go clean your room,"
Well,
and
which, by the way, I just want to clarify this. I've learned a long time ago that that's too broad of a statement.
yes,
It's too generalized.
yes,
And so I understand what you're saying, but for anybody that's listening, I want them to understand I don't say that because it's too general, it's too broad.
yeah,
I've learned that from you. So
Yeah.
I break it down.
yeah,
I say to you, you will hear this from me. Your room stinks. Could you please do your laundry?
yeah, yeah,
And So that's a statement that I would make to you. But
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to clarify that because for anybody that's listening,
That's
you know,
not something you should ask.
no, it's too broad.
Exactly.
It's not helpful.
Right.
Break it down in doable pieces.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's just say I said to you to
go clean your room, and let's say that miracle beyond miracles, I can actually do it.
okay.
My subconscious and maybe part of my conscious sometimes will like I said, do this quote unquote inventory of my body.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just like, nope. My body says, nope, you can't do this.
Well, is it your body or is it your mental state then that you get worked up because you're feeling and that your body doesn't feel well?
I think that pushes it further. Like, it pushes it beyond the physiological and makes it into mental stress as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever, like you said, whenever I can't do it, but I need to do it, but I can't, but I need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I physically can't. It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And it just elevates it so much.
And is that a different kind of hurt that then is that sensory overload? That kind of hurt?
I'm saying that initially it's usually a physical pain, and that it becomes emotional pain because I'm so stressed and worked up over it.
Okay.
So what do? I walk away from it and lay down and read to try and ignore it or get away from it.
Well, what can be done, though, to help you through that? Because, that I do understand that that's who you are, that's how you, what you do, that's your happy place, reading,
Mm-hmm.
But it's not productive. And it tends to, you could read all day long and be perfectly content doing that,
Mm-hmm.
yet there are other things that you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to get exercise to be healthy.
Yeah. I need to eat healthier. I need to do a lot of things to be healthier.
Well, my point is, though, that there are things that, those are choices, right? Like, it's come down to choices. Like, if you needed to, I don't want to get too far away from what it is that we're talking about today.
Okay.
But there is a part of me that doesn't, this is the area that I don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an area that can cause great frustration in me.
Yeah.
So that if things are set up just right for you, and we try to make that happen for you to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
if every time that you're asked to do something, you do what you're describing as this physical inventory, then that sounds like it's, I don't know, it's frustrating because on the one hand to me it sounds like, well, you just don't want to do the stuff.
Right.
Nobody wants to take the trash out.
Right.
But it needs to go out.
Right. I get that. Sometimes it is also sometimes I realize I have a pain and I don't bring it up and to you, and then you say, "Hey, I need you to do this." I'm like, "Gosh, crap." because I know that you're gonna think of it as an excuse.
Well, because it probably looks like an excuse, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like an excuse.
Yeah, and yet I've been feeling it for, like, let's say an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
but I don't bring it up because I don't want to seem like I'm whining or whatever. And yet, it...
Well, you don't bring up the things that you feel in your body anyway without being asked about it.
Right. And which...
Unless you're...
asked to do something. Yeah.
So then it, like, is this cycle? Yes, I understand what you're saying, because that's how it feels on this side.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah. Another excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. It's frustrating, though, but I get it.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating on both sides, just for different reasons.
Yeah.
So how can you begin to process what you're feeling in a productive way and in a healthy way?
I think that eating healthier, working out, different things like that, going for walks, I think that those would not only help with how I'm feeling physically,
Mm-hmm.
but it would also help me get more in tune with my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that having that happen would be a significant benefit to everything, really.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. So you read all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever listened to an audiobook?
No.
Are you interested in that?
Part of the thing I like about reading is that I hear their voices in my head when I'm reading.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so everyone has their own perspective on how things are said and based on how things are written. And different people have different views of it. So it can vary from let's say me reading it versus you reading it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can come across that way whenever people are reading it out loud.
Okay, right. Yeah, I was just wondering because I was thinking that when you went on a walk,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, there's a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah.
And if you just downloaded that into your phone, then you would be able to listen to an audiobook as you're walking.
Yeah.
You know, other people listen to music and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we know that music, especially Bach, soothes you.
Yeah.
And is so helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was just wondering about that. If you listen to it, maybe you could listen to a book and exercise at the same time. So whenever, I think a lot of people, you know, just are not in tune with whatever is going on with their body until they feel something and it gets noticed.
Yeah.
You know, but so whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, we know that you definitely know what that is in your body.
Yeah.
Well, what you're saying is that you're not in tune with your physical body. When you have to do something, you take...
I take stock of it, yeah.
And then it will stop you from doing things.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it because the pain is so bad, or then now you're mentally engaged in that and can't move on?
It might be more of the latter than the prior.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes it is the prior.
Mm-hmm. So if it is that it's affected you mentally, then think maybe we can come up with a way to help you work through that. And are you willing to do that? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that. It's
Okay.
just coming up with something that I don't know yet.
Okay. I always try to get, you said you didn't want energy work.
Yeah.
You gave me that look again. But that would help. Some energetic clearing.
Yeah.
Are you willing to do anything like that, or no? Not still.
No.
Still no.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, what should we do then? What should we do? How could you potentially begin to pinpoint what you're feeling and then be able to move on and not have it stop you where you're not able to function or move forward? Any idea? No?
No. Not
Okay.
not right now, at least.
Okay. Well, I'll put some thought into that because it's a different kind of experience.
Yeah.
And I can see that. I can see when something is mentally and emotionally just distressing you.
Yeah.
I can see that. The physical stuff I can't.
Right.
So, bottom line is, there are times, I thought that you were. It looks like you're faking something. It looks like you're, making
Yeah.
excuses. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're just coming up with something to get out of work.
Yeah, and that's really not the case.
Okay.
There are chores I don't like and this, that, and the other, but I don't try and get out of it like that. It's, I mean, that's, I'm
Are you done?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm
That was
sorry. I'm sorry.
So like Popeye, all I can stands can't stands no more. All right, then I guess we're done here.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. I get it. It's complicated. It's not it's not a clear cut answer. It's kind of
Yeah.
feels kind of murky and convoluted, and
Yeah.
you don't have answers. I don't have answers, but
Yeah.
it's something. It's a pattern that happens over and over again, and it has just become clear to me recently that there's a difference in you having processing issues
Mm-hmm.
versus you having these physical ailments that you can't pinpoint.
Right.
They look different, they feel different,
Right.
and yet they can both stop you from functioning.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you about that because we're working all the time on helping you
Yeah.
to be productive, to to feel confident in yourself and what you
And
do.
to do my chores.
And to do your chores. That's right. That's right. So, yeah. So there we are.
No,
Will you do chores today?
maybe.
Okay. All right. Help me. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us again. Please give us a 5-star review and send us some emails. Keep those coming. We really enjoy those and appreciate them.
Yeah.
Please go to my website, sonyaking.com, SONYAKING, and check us out. Let us know what you think. And hope you're having a great day. Talk to you next week. Love you.
Bye.